Alright, so how's everybody doing? So tonight's video is the 2016 election, alright? Who's going to be the front-running people? For the Republican Party, of course. Maybe we'll do a Democratic Party one later. So we're bringing in Luke again. How's it going, Luke? Thanks for coming.
Pretty good, Dylan. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Alright, so let's start off here with a question. Alright, who do you think will be the front-running Republican nominee? Because it's kind of close between, Paul Ryan and Marco Rubio and Chris Christie, and you got all these Republicans coming on the scene, recently. Who do you think's going to be, if they had to pick a nominee, who do you think it'll end up being?
I gotta go with my man Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan. You see, I think more Marco Rubio because of his Hispanic, but maybe you can prove me wrong.
Well, I like Paul Ryan because he's a familiar face, fresh on the American people's mind. With the 2012 election, Mitt Romney's vice presidential candidate, I feel like he's a very likable guy. He's a younger guy, and I know that's important in this day and age for the election because a lot of the people think, hey, can I relate to this guy? And I feel like Paul Ryan is a relatable guy. I also like his policies a lot. The tax plan that he presented with Mitt Romney, I was all on board with it. So I'm going with Paul Ryan.
See, I'm going Marco... Oh, you mentioned tax plans. Okay, let me just stop you here for a second. I was actually reading my Glenn Beck book, okay, and most of you guys are probably turning off the video at this point. But let me just kind of say something here. I was reading the Glenn Beck book, and he was saying that rich people already pay higher taxes than poor people before all of this Obama stuff. Now, let's look. Remember, Americans have never been guaranteed happiness. They've just been, told the pursuit of happiness, So there's no promise of equal rights. It's just a level playing field where the game can be played. In 2006, the richest 1% of Americans paid 39.9% of the country's total income tax bill. The top 10% paid 71% of the tab. The bottom 50% of the taxpayers now make 13% of the country's total income tax, yet pay less than 3% of income taxes. Those at the top 50 pay 97% of income taxes. Stats show that the average tax rate increases as people get wealthier. The effective tax rate on a person in the lowest income group is 4.3% for the middle class. It's 14.2%, and for the rich, it's 31.5%. One reason some rich guy like Buffett, the effective tax rate is pretty low, is because they make a lot of their money from capital gains, which are taxed lower than ordinary income, and you might ask why. And that's because the government knows that capital gains create jobs. Capital investments create jobs. And that's pretty smart. Well, how do you feel about that, Luke? Hearing all that information. I know I talked pretty fast, but, how do you feel like...
Yeah, I agree. Well, one of the things that President Obama ran on in his second term presidential race, I guess you could call it, was that the rich need to pay their fair share. Well, the rich are already paying. They have 20% of the country's total wealth is owned by the top 2%, or maybe it's top 10%. The top 10% owns 20% of the wealth, yet the top 10% pays 40%, almost 40% of the income taxes. So if you have 26% of the wealth, or 20% of the wealth, and you're paying almost 40% of the income taxes, that's double, in my opinion, your fair share. So I don't know what Obama's definition of fair share is. Maybe he wants to triple it. I'm not. I'm kind of confused about that.
Well, I think the thing is, Obama campaigned on it, like you said, so I don't think once he got, back into Washington, he can't just reverse, his plan on taxing the rich higher, because that was kind of his whole base campaign, was taxing the rich higher. Even though, if I work really hard in my life and I make money, I don't want to have to pay for Frankie Potts sitting outside of a McDonald's sign that says now hiring, smoking a J, in Colorado. You know what I mean?
I don't think Obama's going to worry about taxes. I think he did it to campaign. I don't think that's something he's going to be paying attention. Right now he's pretty bent on gun control, and that's pretty much what's in the news right now, so that's what he's focusing his energy on. I don't think that taxes are going to be a very high priority in his second presidency.
Well, he already got his taxes. He already got it.
Yeah, but I can see other issues becoming much larger on his, the scale that he measures things importance. like his list of priorities, I don't think taxing the rich is very high on the list of priorities.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you on that. Shit, I just fucking... Anyway, so let's... I see Mitt Romney... Or not, I'm sorry, what the heck am I talking about? I'm going into... Back to the presidential 2006, main focus of this thing. I think Marco Rubio will be a front runner. And let me explain why. He's great, he's a Hispanic guy, he's minority, which is what the Republican Party needs. He has good immigration, and when obviously you have a Hispanic guy up there talking about immigration, more people are going to tend to listen, oh, he's Hispanic, he's not going to be too rough. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that would be average, 12-foot wall on the border, you know what I mean, like, type of guy.
Well, I don't really think Paul Ryan would be that either. Paul Ryan seems like a fairly moderate guy, fairly reasonable guy. I don't think he's going to be the 12-foot border guy either, and I definitely don't think Chris Christie is going to be that way either. So I don't think there are any hardcore radical Republicans that are running.
Chris Christie, though. Chris Christie. No one's going to vote for Chris Christie. I mean, people will vote for him, but he'll never win.
Well, the thing about Chris Christie is he ran for the House of Representatives as a Democrat.
He did?
To start his political career. Yes, he started his political career as running to the House of Representatives as a Democrat and lost. So he switched his political views to the right. Not far, but slightly to the right, enough to become a Republican.
Enough to change his mind whenever a Republican stabs him in the back.
Now, the scale of America, not very Republican, but if you look at just New Jersey, pretty Republican. That's the most Republican guy that's basically ever come out of the state of New Jersey. So,
but Chris Christie though, he seems like that kind of guy. I think Newt Gingrich would have had a more of a chance of being a winning the nomination than Chris Christie.
Newt is a good debater. I don't think he's relatable. I don't think the average American...
He has no personality. He has zero personality. He's a little fat guy. He has no personality. Like, oh, sure, he has a baby face, cute, chubby little cheeks, but I don't think he could ever run a country. Sure, he was Speaker of the House and he worked with Clinton, but running a country is not something he seems like he would be able to do.
I don't think Newt or... I like Newt Gingrich. I like his policies. I just don't think he's capable in this day and age of winning a presidential election, or Chris Christie.
See, the funny thing is, I thought Romney was capable. Romney looked like a president. You can't deny that he did not.
Romney did, and the thing that Romney made a few mistakes, and the social media thing, Obama tweeted 7 times more than Romney did. And that's a big part, because when you're getting 7 times more the message out, social media has become very crucial in this modern day and age. In the day of technology, this election has been unlike any election before. And Romney is still trying to run it like an election previously. And it didn't work out for him.
Well, the thing is, America's never had a better choice besides Reagan. Like, this was the clearest choice election I can think of besides... Like, what are liberals thinking? If you voted for Obama... If you voted for Obama... You've got to pull your head out of the sack, in the morning of voting day and not have paid attention to anything. You know what I mean?
Well, if you were an undecided voter by the last week of the election, you weren't going to vote in the first place.
Well, see, mostly undecided voters swing toward the challenger, is what statistics have shown. So
statistics shown, but most people who are undecided voters didn't vote.
3 million people didn't vote this election. 3 million Republicans. Anyway, we got to wrap it up here. It's hitting our time. So thanks for coming in, and see you tomorrow.